Hey, it's me, your boy Blue Getsuga, and as promised, I'll be going over some of my least favorite decks. At least my current least favorite or most hated decks. To get this, just to get this horrible card out the way, let me just let me just quickly say this card is just terrible. I don't know why Konami decided to spare it on the list. I don't know why it I don't know why Konami let this card live for so long. And because of the Rona, we're probably going to have this card until August, September, or even October. Possibly even longer than that. I don't like again, I don't understand why Konami didn't hit this card in April. I really don't. This card is just terrible, it's degenerate. I'm tired of seeing this in rated. I'm almost like I say almost. I was tempted to just play arrow mages or harpies just so I could punish the douchebags that play this card or at least play this deck. I I have nothing but contempt for people who play this, especially if they say good luck, have fun. Mystic Mind players are the primary reason why I don't say good luck, have fun, or good luck whenever I'm in rated. They are the primary reason why. I hate this card so much, and again, it's not healthy. I don't know why Konami thought it was a good idea. This card is it's just AIDS, just pure unadulterated AIDS. I could I can continue to go on about this terrible card, but I don't want the video to be too long. Anyways, we have Subterror Guru. Not Subterrors, just Guru Control, essentially. Guru Control is very boring. And it's such a shame because Subterrors are actually an interesting archetype, and it could be fun, but it's just been reduced to Subterror Guru. Just play Guru, one Umatrix, three of your Fiendus, a bunch of Floodgates, and a bunch of Solemns because Konami thought putting Solemn Judgment at 3 was a good idea. Just like with Soul Charge, life points don't exactly matter, especially when you establish a board. So yeah, needless to say, this deck is absolute AIDS to face off against. I really do not like it. I mean, I really do not like this deck. And it's such a shame too because it looks cool and it looks fun. But then with Guru Control, it just ruined Subterrors for me. Alter guys, almost for the same reason as Guru Control. No one plays Alter guys like Emma Besho does in the anime, and that's very sad. People just like throwing down a bunch of floodgates or solemn cards, which again should never have gone to 3. Like at 1, sure, but not to 3. Anyways, just throw it on a bunch of solemns, play Secret Village, which is also a field spell that should have been banned. I don't know why it has lasted for so long. It's such a terribly designed card, especially when facing decks like Dark Magicians and Altergeist. I really hate that card. It's not fun. It's not healthy. That card shouldn't just be in the game. And I don't like how Altergeists abuse it. On top of that, Altergeists are very floaty. And I mean like incredibly floaty because they could essentially just go on and on and out resource you pretty easily. And I'm not a fan of that. It basically became like Guru Control, but just a little bit flashier. And next we have Conductor Turbo. This I do not like dinos. Mainly because they're very annoying and Conductor is such a stupidly powerful boss monster. Being able to attack all your monsters, having that much attack, is ridiculous because If your opponent summons this on you, you're practically a goner, and I hate that. I mean, not just because of that, but there's many reasons I do not like dinos. Like for one, we have Master Rule 5, and we have Lithogasm back, and Overraptor and Miscellaneous Sources 3. Also that, and because of Master Rule 3, I also just have this weird anxiety because of decks like Pepe and Pendulum decks in Master Rule 3. I have this weird feeling of anxiety whenever I see decks plus off of card destruction. So for a deck to actually not only plus off a card destruction and rip cards out of your extra deck, as well as set up multiple disruptions going first, and also doing hyper OTKs. Anyways, I tend not to be a fan of that at all, especially Ultimate Conductor. It has 3500. This boss monster is way too powerful. And I mean way too powerful. Plus, it takes away from all the other cool dinosaur stuff. I mean, it really does, because no one summons any other cool high level dinosaur monster in this deck besides maybe the one that fetches you double evolution pill. Also, I'm not a fan of that card either because it just makes dinosaurs really splashable. Next, we have Dark Magicians. Before, Dark Magicians were just annoying to face. They were not fun. They always played on your turn, and they felt like a nuisance to face. And they could also TK you and also banish stuff on your turn. I don't like decks that like to interrupt people like that. I really don't. Plus, Dark Magicians just seem like a very, very, very boring deck to play and to face off against, which is why you've never seen me play this deck, nor do I ever intend to or plan to. Also, because of Dark Magician fanboys, we had cards like Magician Souls, which made Spirals broken again, and we ended up with this atrocious monstrosity that Konami thought was a-okay to make. I don't know why they slapped on like 5 really powerful effects onto this. Also, fun fact, I made a post about this in the main menu, and that was after I found out that Dragoon's effect to pop things isn't once per turn for some reason. For some reason, Konami was like, hey, this effect should be a twice per turn effect. And I didn't realize that until I was testing out Performa Pals after, like, I think a day or two after I uploaded my last Performa Pal duel video. I had Bubble Barrier up, and my opponent used the effect twice and popped my monster, and I had no idea that he could do that. That's stupid. Who made this card, and why aren't they fired? Also, who the hell thought Verte Anaconda was a good idea, especially with this card exists? I don't know. I blame Dark Magicians for this one, especially since this card is very easy to summon in Dark Magicians. And I think, yeah, even in one of my Evil Eye videos where I faced off against Dark Magician, that wasn't fun. My opponent just itemizes and summons this thing, and there's nothing I can do because I have to. Cause just to get rid of this card, you really need a lot of resources. And if you don't get rid of it immediately, this card is just going to wreck you and make you feel all kinds of sad. Mermails. Prior to them getting Neptibus, I didn't care about them at all. I didn't mind them up until they got Neptibus. Ever since they got Neptibus, all they've been doing was just being a massive thorn in my side and a massive nuisance. They either hyper OTK, they loop the cards out of your hand, or they set up stunning. They set up. They set up stun boards, and I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of all three of those things being in one single deck. And the thing is, Mermails are also like pendulum are like the pendulum mechanic in a way that even if you hit certain mermail cards, Atlantean cards, this deck is just made up of a bunch of good water support. Not to mention this deck could also just summon totally awesome. Again, also not a fan of that card. I hated toads. I hated frogs in Master Rule 3. I hate them in Master Rule 4. Even with one totally awesome, they're still annoying in Master Rule 5. Also, let me tell you about my horrible experiences with mermails. They going first, they set up stun boards. Going second, they just completely blow me out by destroying my back row with their Atlantean cards before just hyper OTKing me. And that wasn't fun, especially back in Master Rule 3 where your opponent would easily be able to summon Meteor Burst or Abyss Dweller. So if you were playing a deck like Gustos or Yang Zings, they could just essentially stop you from floating and just OTK you. And there was nothing you can do about it. And I hated that feeling, and I hated this deck. And then you had Mermails mixed with Orcust. That also wasn't fun, and it was focused around looping cards on your hand because, hand loops are fun. I despise this deck. Oh, and recently, Konami made the Deep Sea archetype. And Mermails are basically mostly a hand loop deck. So yeah, you can understand why I despise this archetype with a burning passion. I don't know why Konami decided to make Mermails more support, and I don't know why they decided to make it in the form of hand loops. But yeah, we have a hand loop deck that would probably last even longer than Mystic Minds. So, I'm not a fan of that at all. I I absolutely despise Mermails. Ever since they got Neptibus, they've always just been a very, very, very detestable deck for me to face. Next, we have Invoked, or I guess I should say the Invoked engine, or I guess I should also say Mechaba Turbo. Konami banned Colossus because of that one Nemesis monster. They didn't want you summoning a Colossus in any deck that can consistently banish a monster and consistently get to your wind Nemesis monster. I don't know. That was kind of a stupid reason to ban Colossus. I felt like Colossus should have been limited, but Konami is okay with Alistair. Basically a one card Mechaba for any deck. Just normal summon this, search invocation, link into Almirage, then link into security, and then just fusion summon into Mechaba. You're not negging, you're not plussing. It's just a free Mechaba, and I hate that. That should not be a thing. I'd rather face down a freaking Colossus than a Mechaba. Especially since you could literally just summon it in any deck. You could play Alistair in every deck and it's way too splashable of an engine. This is arguably the most splashable engine in the game right now. I hated facing this along with this and I forgot the name. Oh, generators or generate Shadow Legends. Anyways, yeah, both of those decks are engines, and I hate how they summon Boss of Lies or something. Because it's a light monster, it can contribute itself as disruption, and yeah, and it's splashable because you could technically run the field spell in any deck. And I guess I should have added generators as one of the decks, or at least dishonorable mentions, but I don't feel like it. Anyways, that's why I don't like this engine slash quote unquote archetype. It's way too splashable and it deserves to be hit. Like I don't care if they like limit or ban Alistair, but they have to hit Alistair and Meltdown because this package is just ridiculous. Anti-meta, pretty self-explanatory. All they are just floodgates and solemns. They're not fun. They're very annoying. It's not fun. Cyber dragons. For me, I don't like Infinity. Infinity is a very annoying monster. Not to mention, I also don't like hyper. I don't like bland hyper OTK decks like Cyber Dragons. The only reason why I put Cyber Dragons here instead of something like Ancient Gears is because Ancient Gears are at least. I don't know, it's weird. Ancient Gears aren't as annoying to me, in my opinion, because all they do is either hyper OTK or float a little bit, and I'm fine with that. But I don't like negations. I don't like. Plus, yeah, I don't like negations. I don't like hyper OTKs. Yet for whatever reason, I'm fine with photon galaxies. Hell, if I feel happy to lose them for some reason. But anyways, I don't get that same feeling with Cyber Dragons. Cyber Dragons just rub me the wrong way. Yeah, that plus I feel like it's such an overrated deck sometimes. I guess that's probably one of the reasons why I don't like it. Also, lastly, we have Zombie World. I'm not going to say zombies because zombies are very splashable. I'm not going to say Bolladront Turbo or nor am I going to say Eldlix. Although that deck is really, really, really annoying. My issue with Zombie World as a deck is its field spell is essentially one big massive floodgate. Because there are a lot of archetypes that rely on you having a specific type or attribute of monsters, and Zombie World completely screws that up. Because there were so many times where, like half the time, Zombie World just locked me out of like my entire deck just because all my monsters were changed to zombies. And what's worse is you can even just throw in things like there can only be one rivalry, and that will essentially just prevent you from playing the game, essentially. And it's really, really annoying, to say the least. Also, one thing I didn't notice, it's a very relevant effect, is either player can tribute summon monsters. What? So if you're playing a tribute based deck like Monarchs, you're extra screwed. You are extra screwed by this card. Because not only is it like a floodgate for any potential future tribute based, tribute summon based decks, but it turns all monsters into zombie monsters. And that is not fun, especially when you have other floodgates backing it up, or Baladrot, because you do something, Baladrot says, "Nuh-uh, take this D," and it's not fun. It really isn't. This is a very annoying deck, especially whenever I did my Naturia duels. And I remember at one point I tried to do Fortune Fairies, and just me facing off against a Zombie World deck just made me not want to play that deck or touch that deck ever again. That's how bad and annoying Zombie World is. And for our dishonorable mentions, I'll start off with Lair of Darkness because it's basically Zombie World's cousin. I do not like my opponent being able to tribute my things, especially since most tribute effects are costs, so you can't negate it, and negating a card that tributes does nothing, essentially. Plus, it makes all your monsters dark monsters. Also, one funny thing I forgot to mention, because of things like There Can Only Be One, Lair of Darkness, Gozen, and even Zombie Worlds, Magic Specters are essentially dead. Just straight up. Like, if they weren't already dead, they're super dead. Like, I was about to. Because, when I was doing my Yu-Gi-Oh! Tier analysis, I, 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 I was surprised to notice how weak Magic Specters are. especially now with all the cards available, plus the Master Rule 4 and 5 restrictions on them. Yeah, Magic Specters need some love. But anyways, not to get too off topic. I mean, I already did. But anyways, Lair of Darkness, essentially like Zombie World, just not as annoying because you don't have to deal with there can only be one and rivalry preventing you from playing Yu-Gi-Oh! But you do have to worry about Gozen. Also, a thing that I forgot to mention about Lair of Darkness and Zombie World is Super Poly is a nuisance. I'm just gonna say that because if they aren't gonna tribute your monsters, they're just gonna Super Poly away with your monsters, and it's not a fun feeling at all. Especially since there's a lot of dark targets when it comes to Super Poly, so it's not fun. Grand Maju because I do not have fun. I don't have fun playing this deck. It's like your opponent activates a card of desire. I mean pot of desires, and you're essentially done because your opponent can just OTK you or just one shot you with Grand Maju. Because I remember at first when I started seeing this deck, when I started seeing this deck have success, I was like, oh, that's cool. That's crazy because no one sees it coming. By the time you see it coming, it's usually too late. But this deck has grown to be incredibly, incredibly annoying. Not too annoying, but it's up there. I would probably replace Cyber Dragons or at least Antimatter on this list with Grand Maju because there is something very, very disheartening or soul crushing about thinking you're gonna have a fun game and then you just get one shotted. Just like that. It's not fun at all. And then we have Madolche. Madolche are ridiculously powerful. And I mean ridiculously powerful because it could essentially go plus 10 in a turn. And then it could float like no one's business. That plus I get this weird feeling of anxiety whenever I face this deck. I mean seriously. Because I remember I was playing my Battle Wasp in Rated and I had to constantly negate his Hoot Hoot with my Sting the Poison, I think. Basically, I had to constantly negate Hoot Hoot with Sting before I can actually, OTK him with Inferno Reckless. But yeah, this deck just is ridiculously powerful and scary, especially with his non-targeting removal. I'm not gonna say that this deck is just absolutely hated, but it's very scary to face off against. And it just gives me anxiety sometimes. And I don't know why, but this deck just gives me anxiety to face. And then we have Dino Mist. Not Dino Mist. What am I saying? True Floodgates. They're still very annoying even with their major hit. And I can't believe I almost felt sorry for them. Also, did you know that some people are playing True Draco along with Eldlix? Because because why not combine True Draco and True Draco 2.0 together to create one super annoying deck? Especially with all the back row and solemns in the world. Thanks, Konami. Orcus because Dingirsu is still annoying. Babel is incredibly annoying. If you get rid of Babel, the deck wouldn't be as annoying. Plus, this deck just likes to spam now due to their new Orcus monster, that Orcus Mech Knight. I'm not a fan of that. Especially with the topologics. I don't like the topologics because they're not once per turn. They end up creating FTKs, which I hate. And they're very annoying, especially when your opponent can trigger the topos on your turn. I'm not a fan of that. Not at all. Remove Babel, and I would be way more okay with Orcus being a thing. And lastly, for our dishonorable mentions, we have Six Samurai. They set up a lot of negation boards, especially with Shien, your synchro Shien, as well as Naturia Beast, and that is not fun. Naturia Beast is not fun to face off against. And that's also partially the reason why I'm glad Gloat Bulb got banned. Like it absolutely deserved to. Anyways, that and rarely ever do I see people not, playing an FTK with this deck. This deck FTK is like no one's business, and I don't know why. I don't know why they haven't eroded Gateway of the Six. They honestly should. They honestly should just eroded that card because it's ridiculously powerful and broken. Plus, too many people just like to play FTKs with this deck, and honestly, I'm honestly sick of it. But luckily, I don't have to face off against it all that much, so that's why it's in my dishonorable mentions. Anyways, that's all I have to say for this video. Like, comment, subscribe, and tell me what decks you guys hate facing off against or what decks you hate with a burning passion. Until next time.